Welcome back to Hoppline and an in-depth review of the all-new Sabfoil Blackbird by Balz Müller. There's quite a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. So finally, here it is, the new Sabfoil Blackbird, and like a lot of you might have guessed from the reels and the leaks on the internet, for the first time ever, we're seeing a monobloc construction from Sabfoil. And don't get me wrong, a monobloc construction by itself is nothing new. There's other brands on the market with similar solutions, but trust me, this one has a very unique and amazing twist, which I will talk about in just a couple of minutes. But before, I want to quickly go over the benefits of a monobloc construction more in general. And like you can see, there's no fuselage anymore. Half of the fuselage is molded into the stabilizer and the other half into the front wing. So a monobloc construction pretty much enhances a foil in every direction. It's lighter, it's stiffer, but at the same time it's using less screws, less corrosion and faster setup time. But Sabfoil managed to come up with a very unique and I think very smart construction on the monobloc, and that is how they are drawing in the front line into the fuselage, or what used to be the fuselage. So this is not only more streamlined, it adds stability to the whole system, and at the same time these little winglets act as a micro wing, giving you earlier lift and more glide, and you can really feel the difference. On this new construction, I just want to quickly refer to the Seadevil, and I know there's a lot of different opinions out there on the Seadevil, but for me, the Seadevil was not only a very fun toy, it was kind of a game changer in how I think about foils. Now we're having a fuselage and a stabilizer on a regular system, and they are somehow opponents having lift in the front wing, and then the stabilizer keeping the front wing from breaching. Now the Seadevil brought it all together, and it had that plateau feeling to it. It was just one solid unit, and it just felt different, and I really liked the feeling. Now if you're into freestyle, if you're going fast, if you're kite foiling, it was maybe a little bit too slow, but this is where the Blackbird steps in and this new construction, because of these little winglets and the kind of extra area you're gaining in the fuselage, in the connection from the front wing to the stabilizer. This adds this little plateau feeling I had in the Seadevil. It's not that much, but at the same time the Blackbird is high performance. It's super fast, it's super agile, it's a freestyle machine, free ride heaven, whatever you want to do. It's just added glide and added stiffness. It's the same with landing freestyle tricks, and I usually call it a 2-stage or 3-stage landing. If you're coming down, the pure surface of the foil will stop your motion hitting the water, and then you're diving into the water trying to engage the foil again, and therefore you have to get rid of the air, channeling the water flow from the front wing to the tail again. And this is where these little micro wings help again. It's not only the surface area stopping you, it's channeling the water flow from the front wing to the tail and the stabilizer, getting a clean flow again. And in a best case scenario, you can ride away, which is a clean landing. And then there's a 3-stage landing where you're not getting away clean and you still hit the water surface with your board and then bounce off and ride away. You might know the feeling when the front wing is kind of going down, nodding into the water, making you stall and fall. And this one, the Blackbird, has a little bit of that Seadevil DNA, where it feels like a platform, more equal, just more balanced, making it easier to regain that water flow, that clean water flow that will generate lift and get you out of a trick clean. So what does this all mean in terms of riding and in-water performance? And this might be the most interesting part for you. And the first thing I actually did when I received the Blackbird, I set it all up, I went down to my local river and went for a wingfoil session. It was more of a light wing session in 10 to maybe 12, 14 knots. I started off on the 905 and it had amazing lift. I could instantly feel the DNA of the Seadevil, this plateau feeling, riding very smooth, very streamlined, but at the same time, it's not these two opponents, a front wing fighting a stabilizer. It's a very clean water flow, and you can tell the difference. The 905 already turns and rides very great, and I think for a lot of people, this will be the major choice. I'm only 65 kilograms, so I'm usually on smaller front wings, and for me, the 805 was just the better pick. It's a super solid wing. I think it covers a huge range. I could get up on foil on the 805 in 10 or maybe even less than 10 knots with a good pumping technique, and the glide is just amazing. It's got that little bit of extra glide because of these little winglets. You can feel them, and they're just very easy in tags, in jibes. If you're doing an around the world and you're missing a little bit of speed and glide, or if you're going into jibes and you're just dipping down, this has this extra, let's say 2 seconds, keeping you on foil, giving you more time in maneuvers to get them dialed in. And it's just more performance. You can feel the stiffness in the monobloc system, but I think for me far more important is, like I said before, that little Seadevil DNA, the feel of not only having a front wing and a stabilizer connecting by a standard fuselage, but having a solid unit that acts like a plateau, and it makes a difference, and you can feel the difference. I'm not a speed guy, I'm not going fast, and for me going fast is just going a little bit faster than I usually would. I could easily hit the 43-kilometer mark, absolutely not maxing it out. And I think if you're on a kite or if you are into fast winging, you can go much faster with this one. Breach behavior was super nice and controllable, and getting a clean water flow back into the front wing was super fast. So it's a very nice concept, it pays off. I think it's not only stiffer and more high performance and streamlined in terms of the monobloc construction. I really do like these little winglets and what it adds to the playful riding and that little bit of extra lift and glide. So let's move on to power winging. I think this is where a lot of people are gonna love the Blackbird. It's an amazing front wing for power wing because usually you're on a bigger front wing. You need that extra lift because the power wing itself is not offering much lift at the beginning. But I was in maybe 50 knots and above. I was on the 905. I was on a tiny boat, 45 liters, and it was just amazing. I started off with the Ala DW 3.6 square meters and I had a blast. This one turns super nice. It's radical riding, especially if you're having some small waves. It's so much fun, but at the same time it's got the lift to get you on foil if you're on a small power wing. I even dropped down to the Ozone Pocket Rocket 3.0 to just see if it works, and it just works fine. We're talking 15 knots of wind. I'm roughly 70 kilograms wet, and I was on a 45-liter board, and this beast was more than enough to get me up going super fast and super fun and playful. So let's move on to pumping, and you might have seen Balz Müller winning the Swiss Pumpfoil Championship on the Sabfoil Blackbird. I think he was on the 905, I'm not really sure, but trust me, this is a pro pump wing. I don't think it's a pump wing at all. It's a wing which is excellent in all the other disciplines, and you can use it as a pump wing if you are sort of a professional. I really struggled getting the speed into it. I only made 2 brief sessions, 1 Dockstart and 1 Ladderstart, so I had a dead start. And I think I'm gonna make it in some future tries, but it was hard, and I can really see a lot of people that are not really familiar with starting small foils might struggle. So if you're a pro and if you're looking for something radical with super glide and high speed, I think Balz hit the 33 kilometers pumping on the Swiss Pumpfoil Championship. This is a great wing. Same for wake thieving and wakeboard sessions, riding small waves, even prone foiling. It's super fun, but don't expect it to have the same lift as, let's say, a Leviathan 1150 or something. It needs more speed, and it's a different pumping because of the system. So for me, the easiest way to see if it would pump or not was throwing on a foil drive, and I had a blast. It pumps different, and it took some time to get used to it. These 2 parts right now make up a fuselage of roughly 64 centimeters, and that's quite nice for pumping. I thought it would be too stiff in the pitch, but it wasn't. It was actually quite fine. It might be shorter than what you're used to, but because the stabilizer is a little bit bigger, that kind of counterbalanced the feel, so it's very similar to what I had before. And I could feel a little resistance in the tail, but not much. But once you're up on speed, it has a very clean and fast flow, and it's high performance, especially if you bring the whole system up very close to the water surface. The glide is just amazing. It's just a different type of pumping, something I had to get used to. Now, putting up my teaser reel on Instagram and YouTube, I already got a lot of questions, and the most common ones were, can I use my old mast and my stabilizers? And there's good and bad news. The good news is, yes, you can use your old mast. It's the same connection. It's the same M8 screws, two of them bolting into your fuselage, or now they are bolting into the front wing and half of the fuselage on the new Blackbird system. So this is pretty much the same, and whatever kind of mast you have, as long as you're having two M8 screws, it will fit. There will be a new Blackbird ultra high modulus carbon mast. It's got a wood core. It will be available in 75, 85, 95 and 105 centimeters. And because it's got that new wood core, it's not only lighter, but it's more oriented towards freestyle. It's high modulus carbon, so it's still super stiff, but it's got that little bit of flexibility, so it will feather hard impacts and freestyle moves. So let's move on to the stabilizers, and that's the bad news. Because the new stabilizer is molded into half of the fuselage into the monobloc system, you cannot screw it on. There are no shims anymore, but the shim setting is dialed in very good, I think, and you cannot use your existing stabilizers. You do have to buy this one. It probably comes in a set, and I think there will be more stabilizers to choose from. Right now, like I said before, it's roughly 64 centimeters in the fuselage. It's a 385 stabilizer. I thought it would be too big, but because the fuselage is shorter, it was actually quite nice. And I think it will cover a very wide range. I might go for a smaller one once something is available, but I'm only 65 kilograms, and using the 805 or smaller ones available, a smaller one might be just a better fit. Connecting the two monobloc units is very straightforward. It's two screws, and there's already a very nice fit right here. I wasn't sure you could make something like this from carbon. It's probably forged carbon, but it's very precise. It's just a perfect fit. It aligns very well. And then it just takes two screws, one bolting in from the top and another one going in from the bottom. It's these two, and I think it's a pretty smart move to not mold the thread into the stabilizer. You just have to slide one of these pieces in from one side and then have a screw from the other side. It's super easy. It's an Allen key on one side and it's a TX30 Torx on the other side. I only had to use the Torx, and then the friction would be enough so I could get a super tight fit. It might, with time and wear, become different, I'm not sure, but right now all I have to do is just use a TX30. Build quality and durability seems to be on a very high level as far as I can say right now. I hit some rocks with a 905 and I only got some minor scratches in the surface, so that's quite good. I'm super impressed by the build quality of the new monobloc system. If you look at these little squares, that's not an easy one to manufacture, and it's just a perfect fit and alignment here on the monobloc system, and that by itself is quite impressive. Finish is amazing, and I would even go as far as saying it's the best finish I ever had on a Sabfoil foil. Trailing edge on the front wing stabilizer and mast were razor sharp out of the box, and I think it was even too sharp on the mast. I had a slight whistle right from the beginning, and sanding it down with 1200 grit sandpaper just a little bit, breaking the razor sharp edge, took away the whistle. So what's my final verdict on the Sabfoil Blackbird 805 and 905? And I think I have to do this in two steps. First one being the front wing by itself, and second the new monobloc construction. And I want to start with the front wing, and I think the 905 is a very nice upgrade towards the Medusa Pro and Balz Pro 909. It's slightly less wingspan, making it faster and more agile, but at the same time they somehow managed to keep the same amount of lift, making it super versatile. The 905 and 805 in combination is a quiver killer for me. That's all I need. Light wind winging, power winging on the 905, and radical strong winds on the 805. So let's move on to the monobloc construction. I think this is the real innovation. Sabfoil somehow managed to take a little bit of that Seadevil DNA and put it into a high performance package. It's more streamlined, it's faster than ever before, but at the same time it offers more lift at lower speed and just more glide. It's super solid and stiff, it's very light, and I'm very much looking forward to see other foiling lights like the Razor, maybe the Razor Pro, in this construction. There's two more things I quickly want to talk about. First, this is an honest and unpaid review. Thanks to Sabfoil, I get early access to the Blackbird 805, 905 and the 85cm Blackbird ultra high modulus carbon mast. And I know a lot of people think I'm biased just because there's so much Sabfoil gear in the background. But if you take a look at my channel, you will see that I'm making independent reviews on pretty much every foiling brand. I think it's the other way around because I have been on pretty much every single front wing Sabfoil put out in the last couple of years. I'm the perfect person to make this review. Second, and that's a new one for me, Sabfoil asked me if I want to join their affiliate program. So there's a coupon code in the description. It's a small discount for you if you're buying from the Sabfoil website and a small commission to support my channel. But I know this is taking away margins and sales from the dealers and the shops. And I remember when I was a child, it was a very special feeling to walk into a surf shop. It's a certain feel, atmosphere, and I don't want the surf shops to die. They're having a hard time already. So if you have a local dealer, if you have a surf shop, make sure to support them. So that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you have questions, just use the comments and I'm trying to get back to you. Make sure to follow my channel because it really supports my work and I'm very much looking forward to see you back here very soon.